I just love that you guys try to guess what I'm going to be wearing, how my hair will be, and if I have glasses on. It's so funny. Zach and Tammy win! Zach and Tammy win. I missed you guys too, Steve, and I missed everybody. I'm glad to be back with the live stream. Oh, look at Dancing Dog 60, beating me to the punch with generosity. So kind of you. Now it's my turn. Every first stream of the week, I gift 5 memberships. Here they come. Hold on. What happened? Okay, there it is. I have to do it on I have to do it on the, I forget all the time. I can't do it within the streaming window. I have to do it, hold on. I have to do it from the actual live stream window. It's a real kerfuffle there. All right, hold on. Here we go. All right. Membership gifting. 5, please. I'd like to give 5 memberships to the wonderful BTTers out there who don't yet have a membership. For those of you who are wondering, YouTube picks the members, not me. It goes to those who are most engaged with the channel. So here it's going to pick 5 people. Oh, it's a lottery. I love it. So let's see here. Jakey, welcome to the party. Cole, nice to see people coming back. You can churn, no offense. Hey, no offense taken. Hey, Paul, thank you for gifting a membership. So it's lovely to see everybody. Yeah, I'll bring the glasses back. You know, I think August is going to be a loose month. Billy, thank you for your generosity. Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. So we have a juicy stream to talk about today. One of the stories is from Friday afternoon. Sorry about that. But it's still warm. It's still good for us to discuss. Happy birthday, Stephen. Happy birthday. So please keep in mind, and Cesar, thank you for gifting a membership. And as Poke says, if you want to like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. That doesn't cost anything. Just a thumbs up and a subscription. It would be great. Oh, look at all of you wishing Stephen a happy birthday. BTTers are the nicest. Look at Veds staying up past their bedtime. I love it. All right, so rules of the stream. Please keep your conversation topics to the topic at hand. If you ask a question before I open up the story to questions, I might not be able to answer your question. I'm sorry. Because I want to make sure that we gotta keep this train on the rails. Writer Boy, thank you for gifting a membership. Steam Music, thank you for gifting a membership. 1 membership is 1 more member who gets to be part of the party. Ooh, whoops. Sorry, I forgot to silence my phone. You heard my Peter Pan ring there for a minute. All right. So, what did Kevin say? Grace, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have never found Star Wars Rebels, Bad Batch. Right? Kevin, I was so happy to pay it forward because I never would have watched those if it hadn't been for you guys, a lot of Star Wars fans telling me to check out those shows, being like, Grace, you're missing the Filoni magic. And I was like, I don't believe in the Filoni magic. But everybody insisted so much, although I'm sure CJ is like, what about Young Justice, Grace? I can't make myself watch it. Hey, Bay, thanks for gifting a membership. That's a lovely photo of you in a field of flowers. Good, it's nice for summer. But yeah, I mean, Star Wars Rebels and Bad Batch. I couldn't agree more, Kevin. I mean, that's just top-notch quality viewing right there. All right, so starting now, stay on subject. And if you're, save your questions and comments, particularly those that are super chats, until the Q&A if it doesn't have to do with what we're discussing. Okay? All right, here we go. Let's get started. All right, story number 1. Oh, this is a good one. They're all good today. All right, they're always good. All right. Boop. Oh, poor Nick Fury. I covered him up a little bit there. But yes, Marvel Burnout. Something very scary happened yesterday. If I were Kevin Feige, I would have developed flop sweat right away. I'd be so scared. I mean, I've never seen, Loki season 1. Let me just tell you, when WandaVision started advertising and Loki and even Falcon and Winter Soldier, people were like, oh, I'm so excited. And it was a huge deal. The trailers performed like major movies. It was just it was a great time to be in the Marvel machine, adjacent to the Marvel machine. The Marvel machine was just churning out interesting cash. So, Secret Invasion is not delivered. I mean, that's no secret. right? And so with Loki, I think a lot of us, particularly those of us in the group that covers these shows, we were like, woo, finally a show that people are going to be interested in. So imagine my shock and surprise when the Loki trailer dropped yesterday and no one cared. I mean, of course, some people cared. It did trend on Twitter, which was nice. It trended #1. But when it comes to like discussion, it was weak. I've seen, Danny, I'm glad you cared. I cared. I thought it was an amazing trailer, which also made it even more bizarre that it didn't register. And that's why, right. Gramos, KY Kwan got some attention, which was nice. But it was just really bizarre to see this trailer just not. That's funny. I liked Wade's comment that Feige was replaced by a Skrull in 2016. I would believe it at this point. Like before, I'd be like, oh, that's mean. But now I'm like, I think we should, let's go ask Olivia Colman to find out. I've always said that there's no way that Kevin Feige would ever be in danger. But now he seems like a mere mortal. He seemed like a god of studio executives. And now you're just like, he's just like anybody else, I think it's really bizarre, especially because he should stop taking ownership for some of the decisions. He's like, yeah, Super Skrulls having all the powers was my idea. And you're like, what are you, Bob Iger? Get out of the line of fire, man. You're nuts. So anyway, just really no interest whatsoever. So I had a poll, and I'll put the poll here too. But I have a poll currently going on Twitter. And I said, why do you think that people were not that excited about the Loki trailer yesterday? 13% said it was just because of Secret Invasion. They're just being like, it was just that bad. I know. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. Or 63% just overall MCU burnout. Because don't forget that we're coming after Thor, Love and Thunder, Quantumania. I thought Hawkeye was the last very solid Disney Plus show. Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk. And again, with those shows, I thought they were not bad, but they weren't great. And then, of course, the motherlode of awful Disney Plus Marvel shows, Secret Invasion. So that's a long line of not great. And then there's Guardians of the Galaxy 3, sure, but that just seems to have not really, I think, especially because it was people were very much aware that it was a goodbye James Gunn movie, And then only 20% said, what are you talking about? I'm excited, which is like, yikes. And then 3% had other ideas. So let me put the poll here. Hold on, let me do a poll. Anyone can vote in the poll. You don't have to be a member to vote in the poll. You have to be a member to participate in the chat, but anyone can vote in the poll. Very democratic that way. So why the lack of interest in the Loki trailer? Season 2 trailer. Let's see here. And I guess I'll put superhero burnout on this. So let's see here. So Secret Invasion. Overall, MCU burnout, right? Then it's superhero burnout in general. I think that's certainly at play as well. And then I'm excited. Just in case. I mean, I'm very excited. But whoo, looks like a real flopperoonie to me. Which is like very scary, and this is what I want to talk about in particular, because when I was going through the list and I realized when I was making my notes for today's stream that this did kind of really start with Thor, Love and Thunder. And I feel like one of the biggest letdowns of Thor, Love and Thunder was that it squandered 2 incredible comic book storylines. And Kevin Feige has always benefited from the fact that while he's changed a lot of stuff, for the most part, he did the comic book storylines justice, arguably. Civil War, we kind of got it. Multiverse of Madness, Mika, I didn't care for it. I had serious issues, but I think Wanda was so fun that people were kind of like okay with it because it was just like everyone was on a Wanda high, right? But, so Thor, Love and Thunder squandered the Gore, the God Butcher storyline and the Jane Foster storyline. And that's true, Gap. Emilia Clarke, that's the Game of Thrones jinx. A lot of you didn't want to believe it, but after Secret Invasion, I don't see how you can't. I mean, there's just too much evidence. But then Quantumania squandered the Kang storyline and Janet Van Dyne. Everyone was excited about Janet Van Dyne. I think people felt that Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk, don't underestimate how many people are like, a mutant? And why does she have different powers? What the heck is this? And so I think this is all, I think Loki looks very comics accurate, which makes me happy, but I don't know. And then, of course, I think the real kicker was just that Secret Invasion was one of the most famous Marvel storylines of all time, and it was just squandered. Just absolutely squandered. I didn't forget Moon Knight, Poke. Poke, how can you get around the anti-spamming measures on YouTube? I partially respect it, but I don't know how you can do it. A lot of people liked Moon Knight, and I don't think, I had problems with like the middle of Moon Knight, major ones, and people were upset with me about it at first, but I think Moon Knight really rallied for the final episodes. They gave me the first 4 in advance, and what do you know? 5 and 6 were the really good ones. I do think 6 episodes is also a problem, especially because we are all very aware of the formula at this point. We're like, all right, so we know how it's going to play out, which is frustrating. I think Loki looks really good to me. I would love for Loki to be a return to form, but I don't know. I hope so. It looks like it is. I think the Marvels is really going to be a problem. There's more interest in the Marvels, though, than there is in Loki. Even if hate traffic is driving it. It's funny. I tweeted the other day that people weren't talking about something. We'll talk about Jonathan Majors in a minute, Cole. That people weren't talking about something, Dune. Yeah, it was Dune 2 on Movie Math. And I was like, I don't see anyone excited about Dune. And people are making a lot of jokes about falling asleep during the first movie. And then everybody in Movie Math was like, I'm glad so many Dune fans watch Movie Math. We're like, blasphemy, Grace. But someone in the comments said something I thought very funny and true, and that's that nobody seems to be paying attention to Dune, which is worse than people hating on it, because at least people are talking about your project. So that's crazy. Then there's the fear that dare not speak its name, and that's that is it Jonathan Majors? Just like Ezra Miller, fans in the industry were like, hey man, who knows about the Ezra Miller situation? That's just something that's on social media. But I think that the way the Flash imploded was so weird, truly bizarre, that you have to wonder if it was the Ezra Miller factor. And is there going to be a Jonathan Majors factor? Because the lack of Loki, I would say, is on par with the bizarre lack of interest in the Flash, which was also very good, by the way. If you take out all the extraneous drama, right? So it's like, if it happens with the Flash, and it happens again with Jonathan Majors, with Loki season 2, I think you're gonna have to start being like, I think it might be the problematic actor, And I believe that there is no current allegations against Ezra Miller, and some people are saying that Jonathan Majors could be found innocent. But I don't really know. As I said in my trailer breakdown I think it was my reaction or my breakdown, is there a path back for people once they have this situation with the way social media is handling it right now? I think this guilty until proven innocent, you're starting to see why why the United States decided to really stand for the opposite. They were like, in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. And then suddenly the internet decided, no, that's, because, negativity gets more clicks. But what what's happening? It's a really tough situation. And then also I think a lack of faith in the legal system isn't helping either. I saw a lot of comments when Kevin Spacey was found innocent who said, rich people can get away with anything, right? But then when Johnny Depp got acquitted, everybody was like, justice. So why isn't Johnny Depp a rich guy getting away with anything? It's like different rules for different players. I think we need to have consistency, and it needs to be fair across the board so that people know what they're getting into. Mika, Josh Brolin and the Diane Lane situation happened before social media was really a big deal. So same with Sean Penn and Madonna. Nobody knows about it. No one knows, And look what's happening with Lizzo today, Rajiv, Johnny Depp, I think that it was look at this, celebrate the first super chat from Joseph. Joseph, how did you get it to do that? Joseph says, I think a big problem is lack of continuity, like the DC where nothing matters. Nothing from Shang-Chi or the major events as Returnals have continued. Interesting story on the side. Big League Chew, I'll try to get back to that question. I haven't opened it up to questions yet. But I agree, that's another good point. You felt like you were building something with the other MCU through Endgame. You were like, oh, this is going to be important. And too many times now, we've been like, well, I guess no? Yeah, exactly, Denzel. Where is White Vision? Where is he? And Vision said, I'm sure we'll see each other again someday. And you're like, apparently not. I'll get back to, and that's right, the dead celestial in the ocean. They kind of referenced it a little bit, like I think on some newscast. It's ridiculous. I'll say one other thing and then I'll go to the questions because you guys have a lot of good comments. I think that Deadpool 3 is the only like slam dunk project they have coming up, and it's a celebration of the Fox movies. And of course, Hugh Jackman not only returning as Wolverine, but in the yellow suit. However, that's the picture I wanted to add to the live stream. All right, so anyway, I was building up the live stream at the last minute. So what state will Marvel be in at that point? Although I have to tell you, since it's so focused on the Fox movies, I think Deadpool will be fine. As soon as you see a trailer with Deadpool and Wolverine running around and slicing and dicing, everyone's just going to lose their mind. And I'm so excited about it. All right, let me get to some of these questions. Big League Chew says, HBO shows are great. Please try to ask questions about what we're discussing, all right? There's an open Q&A at the end. All right, now you can ask questions about Marvel Studios' Burnout only and have comments. So Big League Chew says, HBO shows are great because the show's episodes writing are good quality consistently. Marvel shows quality has dropped and is wildly inconsistent. That's true, Big League Chew. HBO has built up a brand of quality. You're like, what's for dinner on Sunday night this week, HBO? Which is why I think The Idol was so bad for them, because that was just crap. But yeah, I think that's true. I think Marvel has a real quality issue, and I've been shouting that since, Quantumania and before. I was like, get these Rick and Morty writers out of here. And often you'll look at the resume of some of the writers that have been hired, and you're like, who the heck is this? Like, spend a little more money and get someone who has some, I gotta say, I'm so glad the writers are on strike. They don't get no respect. Like, the scripts in Hollywood are like an all-time low. And there are people who they hire somebody and then like, this is what they worked on previously. And you're like, why would you hire someone who wrote so much crap to write clearly is what's going to be more crap? Like, how does Christina Hodson keep getting work? And I told you I was correct. She didn't write The Flash. She was significantly rewritten. And I think it's the Writers Guild. I don't know how she's allowed to get credit for a script that she has nothing to, because she can't, who cares now because the movie bombed. But she, it's very frustrating. All right. DG Gamer says, and that's very generous. Thank you, DJ Gamer. It's disingenuous to call it Marvel fatigue when it's clearly bad writing and forced politics into our entertainment. Can't be a family business while half of the audience thinks, well, that's a political statement, DG Gamer. I don't appreciate that word because of the connotation that it's taken on. Make good Marvel movies and they'll sell. Well, I agree with the quality issue, but I feel quite strongly about representation. People of all different walks of life read Marvel comics. In fact, Marvel has all comic books. The comic book space has a particularly large fandom with people of color and also the LGBT community. If you ever actually have gone to a comic book convention, you can clearly see that's the case. Now, of course, you want to have everybody feel represented and everybody feel part of the group across the board. Nobody should feel left out or that something's no longer for them. And that's kind of where I see Hollywood kind of making a little bit of a mistake. But I really think it's important that everybody be represented. Everybody who pays for a movie ticket should be able to look into a franchise in that universe and see themselves represented. I feel extremely strongly about it. I will say, though, that Disney is real sloppy about their representation, and I've been saying this since Birds of Prey does a really crap job. Every DC, Marvel, like everybody, okay, is doing like this forced representation most of the time. Oh, wow, Jonathan, that's extremely generous. Everybody's doing first super chats today. Thanks. And that's very generous, Jonathan. I like your picture. That's like a nice corporate headshot. But yeah, Holly Jervis, I'll always say gay rights. I strongly believe, and I'm very excited for Wiccan, although I'm so scared because I think some of the choices they've made have endangered that character's popularity. So I'm a little upset about it. Again, I feel like I wish we could go in there and be like, don't do that. That's a really bad idea. And this character we must protect because they're so delicate and great. All right, hold on. I have some other questions here. Devin Henderson says, nothing happens in the MCU has any impact emotionally or narratively. How can the audience care? I would agree with that. Let's see here. Jay Hugg says, I think it goes beyond superhero fatigue to overall franchise fatigue. Oh, that's a good point as well. We've been talking in Movie Math how all these extremely long-running franchises aren't doing so great. You know, MI7, Indiana Jones, Fast X. I think people want new and fresh stuff. But, well, maybe that's why The Boys is still so great. I love The Boys. I think The Boys has a freshness to it, which is really wonderful. Rahul also agrees it's the writing. Let's see here. All right. Aaliyah says, Loki trailer is the #1 trending video on YouTube. The subject confuses me. Could this only be a Twitter situation? Well, that's a fair question, Aaliyah. I didn't say that nobody watched the Loki trailer. And, you know, it's slow right now because of the strike. I don't think it's hard for something to trend #1. However, the discussion about it, I can tell you, if you look at all the videos on YouTube discussing Loki trailer, season 2 trailer, they are not where they're supposed to be. And so that to me shows a real problem. And you can look at the poll again that I took. You know, this isn't just something that I'm like, oh, I sense it. There it is in black, white, and blue. You know, you can see only 20% are excited. And I think that that's really bad. You know, like maybe people watch the trailer, but then they're done. They have no interest in going and discussing it or doing stuff like that. So I think that's a real problem. Oh, close the poll. All right, birthday boy, hold on. Trisha, yes, I agree. As I said in my video, McDonald's should totally promote Loki season 2. I mean, they don't care if it's that big a deal or not, Trisha, as long as Disney's check clears. Or, you know, I think a collaboration would be good. Although sometimes the brands pay to do the advertising. I think that would be a great collaboration. And also, who just wouldn't want to go to a vintage McDonald's, quite frankly? So overall, MCU Burnout is 48%. Wow, look at that, overwhelming. Superhero Burnout in general is 19, tied with I'm excited. But look at that, it's the same amount of excited in the other poll, about 19-20%. Oh, and then what was that? 12% Secret Invasion. Oh, we got a lot of votes today. Nice. Let's see here. Solid Unit says MCU right now doesn't feel like it's building towards anything up until Infinity War, the after credit scenes. That's true. There's no bigger storyline either as well. I would agree with that. It should have been. They should have been doing teases where a scroll at the end of the teaser credits, some character would be like, I'm a scroll, and you'd be like, Secret Invasion's coming. It would have been a big Marvel movie, Avengers movie. I mean, it's so easy. I think that's another reason that Secret Invasion is so annoying, because you're like, anyone could figure out how to do that, you know, the way that Marvel had, you know, Marvel created this and laid the groundwork, and Secret Invasion fit into it perfectly, and then for some reason they were like, well, we're not going to do it. That's right, Whelm. Secret Invasion should have been a whole phase. I mean, the multiverse has not worked out. I think it was a Pandora's box. Brendan says, I just don't ever see the Marvel magic coming back. Well, never say never, Brendan. Never say never. You know, who would have thought Jurassic World could come back? But it sure did. And, you know, some of you might not like those movies, but every single one of those suckers made $1 billion. So it can come back, but, you know, sometimes it needs a break. You know, sometimes it needs new leadership. Sometimes it needs new talent in front of and behind the camera, but it can come back. James Wright says, it doesn't seem like any of the Disney Plus shows have implantations on the MCU at large. It's like they exist in their own universe and raise more questions than answers. Yes, I agree. But also, unfortunately, questions, not like, ooh, mystery, but more of a situation where you're like, what the heck are you guys doing? And then Jason Acker says, then they put out another, oh, Jason has 2 comments. So, all right, then they put out another project repeating the formula and the cycle continues. It seems to fans like they are more interested in an agenda than the fans when they repeat 6 projects in a row. I will agree that instead of having 4 great female characters, they have like 8 or like 6 or 8 weak ones. I would agree with that. I think that's a problem. All right, let me move on next. Jason says, I care about representing too. Really, I do, which is why I'm so loud about how it's messed up. These groups deserve better than just sloppy box check writing and pandering. Well, I would agree with that statement, as I often say myself, you know? Amparo says, I am scared for X-Men. So am I. I'm real scared at this point. I'm very nervous about Kevin Feige's ability to adapt that correctly. And then Rashad says, I missed the continuity of the MCU. After Endgame, I feel Mysterio's reveal was the last thing that felt connected and came full circle. How do we fix it? Yeah, whatever happened to Mysterio, too, by the way? That was such a great character, and it's been years. Oh, that was annoying. And David Kyle says, I think Rogue should be in Secret Invasion to get Carol's DNA. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't want to see that done to Brie Larson, to be honest with you. I think that a really negative connotation will come out of it at this point. All right, let's move on to the next story, because we've talked about this for almost half an hour, and then we'll move on. We'll do the other two stories, and then don't worry, there will be a Q&A at the end. All right, so story number 2, here it comes. Boop. Oh, Sony delays. These delays are massive. And look, where'd it go? There we go. There it is. Visuals. Woohoo, I love visuals. All right, so I made a little chart so we can easily see what's going on. So on Friday afternoon, when I was already out and about, and I was like, darn it. So Sony was like, we're moving a bunch of stuff because they don't feel that because of the actors' strike, they have the actors to promote their content. So they moved all this stuff around. So let's go through it. So first off, Gran Turismo, which was supposed to come out August 11th, has now been pushed just to the end of the month. That's so weird to me. What they decided to do was to do kind of a flash situation where they're going to have a lot of screenings for fans, early screenings, and hope that word of mouth will make people talk about it. I can't imagine anyone's going to come out of Gran Turismo and be like, I've got to tweet about that, you know? So if you would like to see, oh, thank you, George. That's very generous of you. Who says, who else's superpowers could Rogue absorb? And I just think, I don't know. I don't know if she ever needs to absorb Captain Marvel's powers, to be honest with you. Can't she just be Rogue and have superpowers for some reason? It's fine. I mean, I never saw her do that on the X-Men on the Fox animated series, and it was fine. All right. So anyway, so if you want to see Gran Turismo, I saw that poke. We're not there yet. All right. So Gran Turismo, if you would like to see it, it has early fan screenings, August 2nd, tomorrow, and then also August 8th in IMAX. And then August 9th in like regular format. So I guess they hope everyone's going to talk about it. And then on August 25th, it'll go wide. Then, yes, Kraven the Hunter got pushed back almost an entire year. It was supposed to open October 6th, 2023, and is instead going to come out August 30th. I bet they feel real bad they released that trailer. August 30th, 2024. Which is Labor Day weekend, the Equalizer 3 spot, or perhaps they're hoping the Shang-Chi spot. Shang-Chi did quite well over Labor Day weekend a few years ago. But, you know, I don't think Kraven looks very good at all, although some people are excited about it. So maybe it'll do well. You know, I think it looks like Morbius 2.0. I agree with Rodolfo, but I know some people who are, but I don't know. And like these people, I think they're excited about it in advance, but it's like, are you going to actually pay to see this movie when it comes out? Or are you going to be like, Like I had a friend who was super excited about Morbius, but then they didn't go. I was like, Morbius needs you. And they were like, I don't want to, you know? So we'll see what happens with Kraven. You know, there's a slim chance maybe this thing is another Venom. All right, so we'll speak about Venom 3 in a minute. All right, then Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse got a tantalizing headline when they said it was removed from its current release date and did not have a new release date at the moment. They even said in the coverage that there would be another new release date soon. But that didn't matter. Everybody was like, delayed indefinitely. It ain't never coming out. Across the Spider-Verse made so much money. Beyond the Spider-Verse is coming out. They just haven't picked the right release date for it yet. So, and because they said that, you know, while animators can still work, their voice talent can't record any of the lines. They can't do any of the dialogue. And they don't know how long it's going to take to get back on track. So that is going to come out, but it's unfortunately delayed. Maybe around Christmas time or Thanksgiving would be a great time for that movie. Then, speaking of the holiday season, Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters, takes place in New York City with everybody returning from the last film, including Paul Rudd. It better not just be that family again. But anyway, that was supposed to come out December 20th for the holiday season, and now took Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse's old date for Easter weekend 2024. That's not bad. That's a very good date. That's a good date for Ghostbusters. So I think that's fine. And luckily, they have not advertised that at all. So they're still in very good shape on that movie. And then Karate Kid reboot, which is ridiculous because the Karate Kid show Cobra Kai on Netflix is so popular, it's nuts to reboot this again. But they're rebooting it again, and that moved from June 7th, 2024 to December 13th. That's going to be a Christmas movie in 2024. I don't think that's a good Christmas movie. Karate Kid is a summer movie, in my opinion. But, let's see. I feel like the people who plan these release dates don't actually go to the movies. They're like, yes, well, I think the people would like to see this at this time. And you're like, man. All right, then, that's funny, Mika. It's a little bit rough around the edges of the slate. Madam Web comes out 2 days earlier, actually on Valentine's Day. And I'm like, is this a romantic movie? Shouldn't it come out February 13th, Galentine's Day, because it's got all ladies in the cast, right? And then, of course, Dakota Johnson has quite a famous relationship with February 14th, because that's when all the, when all the 50 Shades movies came out. I can't believe they're even thinking of releasing Madam Web. I saw one still from production that they released, and I was like, that looks like hot garbage. But apparently they're going to go for it. So let's see. It is a mess. I think people are going to hate the storyline. It makes no sense. It's not at all like the comics. It's ridiculous. Although I reserve the right to change my mind when I see the trailer. Then Venom 3 comes out July 12th, 2024. That's weirdly right after 4th of July, but whatever. I really lost a lot of faith in Venom after the last entry. I loved the first one, and I thought the second one was not good either. It wasn't hot garbage. It was just regular garbage. It was just regular garbage. And then Bad Boys 4, June 14th, 2024. And I got to tell you, I don't know if Will Smith, I guess he wants to jump into the deep end of the pool. But if I were him, I wouldn't feel like he's in a good enough place to get into that much of a competitive space. Right in the middle of summer. I think, the last one that did so well came out for Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. And I thought that was a good date, like in February for Bad Boys. I thought that was February or January. I forget which one is President's Day and which is. So anyway, I think that was really great for Bad Boys for Life. That was a great weekend for that movie. And I feel like, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. I'm sure Will Smith is like, how can I not come back? I think, and some people are frustrated to find him in the same camp as Ezra Miller and Jonathan Majors. But I don't feel Will Smith handled his damage control very well. I feel he shouldn't have partied after the Oscars. I think he should have apologized more. I think maybe he should have given back his Oscar and hope they give it back to him and be like, that was a very nice symbolic gesture of you. You can have it back. Or maybe he could have donated it to sit in a museum somewhere or to the Williams sisters to put in some kind of charity that they had, I feel like, is that Juneteenth? Bad Boys for Life? Bad Boys 4? If that's Juneteenth, it's near Juneteenth. That's a good date then. I feel a little better about it now. Although I don't think Juneteenth is still a very somber holiday. Hollywood just sees 4-day weekend and sticks movies there. But I think people are still very caught up in the, after many, many years, holidays take on that kind of a situation. But I think that Juneteenth is still like a very serious thing that people are taking. And I think also it's like more being out and about and talking to each other and for groups to be together and to celebrate the meaning of that day. So I don't really know if it's really still go to see a movie day, So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if Will Smith can come back. He's going to try, and I think this is his best shot. All right, so Warner Brothers still said that they were thinking of moving some films. They haven't decided yet. I suspect they'll wait until after Labor Day because Dune doesn't come out until the beginning of November. So they have a little time. And also, I think they really need their cast because the trailers have not performed particularly well for Dune 2. That's one of the reasons. Also, I said I don't think that movie has a lot of interest. People are just not that into Dune. And more people are bold enough to make the joke of they couldn't stay awake during the first movie. So Warner Brothers, I think Dune 2 and The Color Purple will likely move because for Dune, they need that incredible cast to promote it. And then for The Color Purple, they need that cast to campaign for award season. And to do the film festival circuit. And they can't do that. Like Venice is having real problems booking talent. So I think there's a chance that those two movies could move. As I've told you before, I don't see Aquaman moving because why not? I mean, I think that let's just rip that Band-Aid off and see what happens. And then as for Wonka, I don't know if I would move Wonka. I think that Wonka looks weak to me, and I would just be like, hey man, let's just put it out there and see what happens. It's a holiday movie coming out for Christmas time. I think that it could still do okay. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. I have a mosquito bite. Why? All right. So does anybody have any questions about this story before we briefly talk about the Emmys? Oh, I'm so glad to see so many people joining the live stream today. Hello, everybody. Even if you can't be a member, I see you. So Danny says, Grace, are you excited about any of these Sony movies? Yeah, I'm excited about some of them. I'm excited about Kraven because at least we'll have a good time making fun of it. I'm very excited about Beyond the Spider-Verse, obviously. I thought one of the greatest cliffhanger endings of all time on the last movie. I'm kind of excited about Ghostbusters. I'm excited to be back in New York City. You know, the the siren, all that stuff. I'm excited. And then I'm kind of excited about Venom 3. I like the first one so much, so, I'm not willing to totally be like, write that off. And then, I don't know. I like the other Bad Boys. I would like to see Bad Boys kind of work out. Let's see. I don't know if it can, but let's see. Subasiso says, how long can Deadpool 3 hold out? What do you mean? Well, they haven't even finished filming it. It's on hold because of the strike. So that's a real problem. I don't know. I don't know how long they can hold before, and they've already taken a break. Maybe they can work on the visual effects of what they've shot already. But hopefully this strike will end around Labor Day. We'll talk about that more a little bit in the Emmys section. The Brendan V says, the only reason to see Kraven is because Aaron Taylor Johnson looks really yummy. That's hilarious. Everybody I know is divided. I don't think it's appropriate for us to take a poll on how yummy Aaron Taylor Johnson is. That's just not, it's a line we just shouldn't cross. But I will say that my friends are divided as to whether or not he looks good. I don't see it. But a lot of my friends are like, you're blind, Grace. And I'm like, maybe it'll do well if there are enough of you on the other side. Let's see here. Cosmics, you think Wonka for Easter? It looks like a Christmas movie to me. Chocolate, right? Ariel Knight says we shouldn't limit black movies to February and black holidays. I don't know why that's a thing. That's a good question, Ariel Knight, and I don't think that's true. I mean, if you look at this list, right, and we just talked about Color Purple, that's coming out for the holiday season, but Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is not anywhere near those kind of dates. I think, I can totally see where you're coming from, and I think that should not be the case, but, look how much Black Panther benefited from its initial release. I think, movies, wherever they can get an edge, they should. And I think that's, just like, Madam Web coming out for Valentine's Day is in the same kind of a situation. So let's see here. Emmett Wright says Wonka is very culturally associated with Christmas in the UK. Oh, that's great. Again, I said I gave up chocolate, so I'm like, have fun, everybody. Let's see here. Oh, Rajiv, thank you. That's so kind of you. I'm glad you got your first super chat. Big League Chew, thank you for gifting another membership. Frog Eater says, I hope Disney does not delay Wish, since Wish, with its preceding short Once Upon a Studio, is the big finale for Disney 100. I think it'll stay. I gotta tell you, I think that movie's gonna flop so hard. I think that after this year, they are going to do such a strong, they should do such a strong restructuring of Disney corporate. And I think you're gonna see a lot of creative executives go, because this is just getting ridiculous, right? James P., thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Let me see. Zay says, why is Kraven being pushed back? It's being pushed back because Aaron Taylor Johnson can't promote it, John Thrasher says, there's no chance Deadpool finishes filming and hits theaters by May, right? No, I think it still could. It still could. It still could. Let's see here. Holly Jervis said, I heard Reese Ifans is in Venom 3. I don't remember off the top of my head, sorry. And then Navy EMT says what Will Smith did was live while Majors and Miller's actions are playing out in the tabloids. I think your basic moviegoers may not know about the tabloid story. But then how do you explain total lack of interest in The Flash and Loki season 2? I think people do know. I like some of you are voting on Aaron Taylor Johnson in the comments. I love it. Hilarious. David Kyle says, can we all agree getting power from a lion bite is just unoriginal? Yeah, I thought it was stupid. Let's see here. Sold Unit says Sony should just do Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man ASAP. He wants to, but I told you he wants Kevin Feige involved. And Kevin Feige's like, my house is falling down around me. I don't have time to save your career, Andrew Garfield. Mike says, do you see any Sony movies hitting $1 billion? Any of these? No. Not one of these. Maybe they have another one in there. Like, go back and look in the closet. Do we have anything else? John says, bring back 3 a.m. live streams for Loki. I can't. It throws off my whole sleep schedule and my whole week. It's really difficult to do. Dre Film says, I don't think it's fair for Will Smith to be penalized for the slap. What will it take for people to move on, especially when it didn't happen to them? I think it's more complex than that, Dre Films. I think that it was the lack of decorum at a professional event and crossing the line from audience member to performer. I think that was really bad. But at the same time, I think the question is, after you have a period of penalization, how do you get out of that? I think the question isn't whether or not what Will Smith did was wrong, but does it make him canceled forever? And then also, of course, it could change the way some people feel about him, and there's nothing that can be done about that. Well, he just has to try and fix it. Gigi, I did give up chocolate, and I gave it up successfully. I'm doing it. Greg Lazaro says, Grace, it's my mom's first live stream. We're watching together. Hi, Greg's mom. I'm glad she's a Loki fan. Your mom sounds cool. Art Lover says, do you think Barbie would have done this well without the press? I think it would have done well, but I don't know if it would have done this well. The press, they just did the PR campaign and all the partnerships they had with promotion. Just did a wonderful job making Barbie seem like, how can you miss this? And then Cowboy Kush says, Grace, you really have the most enlightening and entertaining content on the web right now. What a kind thing to say. I feel like that dove that you've set free in your picture there. Thank you for everything that you do. My pleasure, my absolute pleasure. And I love that it puts me in contact with people like yourself. I like that middle kid 2-3 said, Aaron Taylor Johnson does have a very good physique. I like that you intellectualized it. Let's just point out the obvious there. But, I don't want anyone doing steroids, though. The main man says if Will Smith was a woman, your opinion would change. No, it would not. It most certainly would not. I am all about fairness for both sides. I don't know why people think that I'm not. Hey, Mr. Magic. Chandler says, Rogue did absorb Ms. Marvel's powers in Fox X-Men. Well, I never really thought about it. So, I don't really think to me, Rogue was always about that she was super cool because she was so powerful and that she couldn't touch anybody, which I think a lot of people, particularly when you're an adolescent, can relate to. You're like, I feel like I'm in a glass box of emotion too. And she was goth. I think she was extremely relatable. I related to her. But, so I wasn't like, yeah, she sucked some other woman dry, I just don't like it. I'm not a fan. How do we get back on Marvel? Hold on. Okay, how would you feel if Will Smith addressed the slap during the press tour? Well, I think Sabian, he might have taken too long because he did apologize for it a little bit later, as you might recall. And people were like, doesn't seem genuine. You're just trying to save your career. And that's really tough. Dr. Long Monkey says, Chris Rock is allowed to make fun of celebrities. Well, I would hope that some people took away from that story that you can cross a line with celebrities and they're people too, and you can really hurt their feelings and do something really bad. I'm not saying Will Smith shouldn't have spoken out about that joke. I just think he didn't handle it well. And I think Chris Rock kind of hurt himself with his last stand-up special. I think people feel that he went too far. Elias says, so many musicians are being attacked these days on stage by audience members. You mean singers like Cardi B and others? I agree, Elias, and it didn't happen before. So Will Smith started all that. He put a lot of people in danger. And then Smart Girl says, on a night of fantastic accomplishments for black talent, all we remember is the slap, and Will Smith is responsible for that. I would agree with that as well. I think that, he ruined his own night. That was supposed to be the pinnacle of his career. He'd worked for an Oscar for so long. But I personally always felt that spoke, do you like my Sweeney Todd glass? But I always personally think that spoke to the immense pressure he's been under in his marriage. And I wish that is the route he had taken in addressing the situation and saying, wow, that was a real wake-up call that perhaps my marriage is that bad. And I've been keeping it bottled up so badly. Because, I think there is abuse both ways in relationships. And he could have become, although Johnny Depp hasn't been able to save his career either. It's really rough out there. Jason says, Will Smith has been caught up in narcissist shenanigans. He'll never be able to be back in full form until he leaves his wife. Well, I don't want to tell anybody to get divorced, but, I think that's not totally untrue. Let's see here. That's not a huge glass of gin, Wade. This is water. I'm drinking my water like I'm supposed to. This is just me. I'm just loose and have strong opinions. All right. Let's see here. Oh yeah, this isn't the open Q&A. Let me do the third story, and then we'll go to the open Q&A. We're just having a really good time. All right, hold on. All right, third story. Boom, baby. All right, so also they haven't announced a new date yet, but the Emmys, it looks, have been delayed. They are definitely not happening in September anymore, and the date that's being thrown around is January, which is interesting to me because that's when the Golden Globes used to be then. And that's when the Critics' Choice Awards are, which I vote for. So I think the Emmys, they're supposed to be the 2023 Emmys, and these would therefore be in 2024. So I think the Emmys need to get a grip as to what year are we celebrating. I think that all the award shows, I don't even like that the Oscars are in March, by the way. I think that's stupid. I think that all awards shows should be in January and February, and they should celebrate the previous calendar year's work. It's been driving me crazy that The Bear is nominated for a lot of Emmys, but not The Bear Season 2, which we all just watched. The Bear, it's only Season 1. So you're like, what are we talking about? We were all like, why wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis nominated? And people are like, no, this is Season 1. You have to wait till next year. And you're like, I don't care. I'm not going to care next year. I just watched Jamie Lee Curtis now. So it should totally be the calendar year, and I think whatever the Emmys have come up with is stupid. So it does seem like there's gin in here, but I swear it's water. The Emmys are stupid. I just like talking to you guys. I get excited. So hilarious. All right, so we'll see what happens. You hated Season 2, Art Lover. I don't even know what to say to that. The Bear was incredible. But yeah, I just think the Emmys should be calendar year, and I think all awards shows should be contained between January and February, and there should be less of them. There are way too many awards shows. By the time the Oscars come around, the Oscars have become less of an announcement on the performances and more on whether or not the other awards shows got it right. It's no longer oh, I'm glad that person won. You're like, yeah, see, the Golden Globes or the Critics' Choice Awards were right. Thanks, Sabian. You guys are very sweet. David Kyle says, it's driving me crazy. Award films always get released in the next year in the UK. Poor Things isn't here until January 2024. Yeah, the calendar schedule is kind of weird, just in general. I mean, it's a global conversation at this point. Everything should try to kind of come out at the same time, in my opinion, so we can discuss it. So we'll see what happens with the strike. I think that, Gavin Newsom is I'm going to come in and mediate this thing. He's chomping at the bit to come in and to mediate the strikes. Because not only is it really hurting business and the industry, one of California's most lucrative industries, but also it would look pretty great for him with his presidential campaign. He'd be like, I defeated AI. I helped the worker. I mean, it would be great for him. So he's probably like, oh, can I mediate? And they're like, no. And he's like, I'm just sitting here. So we'll see. I think he should mediate it. I think they're going to need outside mediation. Chef Howard, you're finally a member. I love it. I don't know if Gavin can win. I think Gavin's a little bit too far. I think a moderate candidate can win. And whichever party is smart enough to run a moderate candidate, and it seems like neither one of them is, will have the best chance of winning the presidential election. So, and also, I still think Gavin's wife's history with Harvey Weinstein is a really big red flag. So, I mean, but I don't know. I got to see who our choices are and which red flags I'm willing to forgive. You know, it might have to be like, well, she's not president, so whatever. All right, let's see. Let's move away and move to the Q&A section. All right, hold on. Put the unicorns back in their pen. All right, hold on. Q&A, where'd it go? All right, Q&A for 10 minutes. It's 3:27. So you can ask me anything you want until 3:37. Oh yes, Rippy says Stephen Amell totally ended his career yesterday. Do you think he could go over to the Sound of Freedom camp? Well, let's leave out the political part of your question. But I think Stephen Amell did ruin his career yesterday. I mean, also everyone's making the joke, what career? But you know, he was a name. He was a big enough name to warrant the headline. But he was already scabbing. He shouldn't even have been at that convention. He was at a convention doing promotion, making money for himself, which is totally inappropriate. He shouldn't have been doing it. I've seen some other slight scab behavior that I don't even want to call out, you know, because it's not my job to call out scab behavior. That's very touchy, okay? Like, you know who should be calling out scab behavior? SAG, okay? SAG has a responsibility to do it. And thank you, Jacob, that's very generous of you. SAG put up these rules, and if people are going to violate them, Fran Drescher, with the same passion that she called out Bob Iger, needs to come and at least suspend these people from the guild. You know, I wouldn't say they're out forever, but I would give them a year-long suspension once the strike ends. They're like, go ahead and suspend me now. Because I'm already on strike. I'd be like, no, when the strike ends, you're not a SAG member for a year. And what that means is they couldn't act in any major project because they all have to be SAG certified. So that would be a really big deal. So I hope that, you know, I wish they would do that. I've seen multiple scabbing. I have seen, I'm very upset about waivers, as are other people. I think waivers are ridiculous. Viola Davis felt so uncomfortable about waivers that even though her movie got a waiver, she said, I don't want to make it anyway because I just don't feel right coming into work. And I'm glad she did that. Viola Davis is very smart. I'm just very against that stuff. Let's see here. Let's see, any other questions? Hold on. This is the Q&A. Danny, I'm glad you like my glass. I have a bag too, but I haven't washed it yet. But yes, I think Stephen Amell went on Instagram and he was like, that's not what I said. And then he went out and talked it out, and it was exactly what he said. It was like, it was horrible. I'm sure his agent was like, see ya, good luck with the rest of your life. Sean Turner says, why is James Bond such a resilient franchise? Is it though? Thor, is it? Meme or GIF. I don't think so. You know, I think that James Bond is a resilient idea, but I think that, you know, especially, it's such an old style character. I think it's very difficult for it to survive in today's society. Because you need to, like, a lot of people are still around that like the older version of the character, but then also the audience is evolving to want a new version. And yet, so you just split your viewership down the middle. Nobody wants that. I still feel that the key to the success is to keep classic Bond and then have Felix age him down and have him be an African-American CIA agent and have more of a two-hander. And then Bond can still be Bond, right? And I thought making M a woman was a good plan. But we'll see. I'm very nervous. I better not be Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's not yummy. I don't agree with it. Hey, Floyd Owens. Oh, Mika says, what are your thoughts on the Lando series? I wouldn't want to make a Lando series right now. I felt bad that Justin Simien, the director that I interviewed, found out about him not being involved with the project anymore on Instagram. I mean, I don't know how that's allowed to happen. Although I'm not too surprised because I think Haunted Mansion just has not performed. So I would be nervous about putting him in charge of something else. But with Lando, I just think that it better be well written. And Donald Glover is very clever and a great writer, so I think it could be. But I think also Donald Glover can be quite political sometimes, and Lando should not be a political show. I wish they would bring back Alden Ehrenreich's Han Solo. He wasn't that bad. John Thrasher says, excited for Madeline Pryor rumor in X-Men 97. I have not heard anything of that. The only thing I heard about X-Men 97, John Thrasher, was that it was a mess, and that's why it hasn't come out. I heard all the Marvel animated shows from the MCU are like a mess. That's why they're not coming out. They're like, whoo, and some of them might never come out. So that's going to be embarrassing. Leo, I don't know if I'm going to watch Red, White, and Royal Blue, but I have seen a lot of interest in it. Jacob, thank you again. Let's see here. Mike says, James Gunn said The Flash would reset the DCU. I finally saw The Flash and not sure how it did that. I think it did not. I think he pulled back from that. He said Blue Beetle is the first DCU character, but I don't know if it is. You know, I think James Gunn should just stop talking. He should just focus on Superman Legacy. And I would put every other DC project on hold until I saw how Superman Legacy did. I guess they're going to have to release that Creature Commandos show because it's already really far ahead in production. But I would just focus on Superman Legacy and see where that goes. SNK says, hi, Grace. My Wi-Fi is down, but I was wondering if Zack Snyder's Blue Beetle post counts as crossing the picket line. Oh, that's a great question, SNK. I don't think that it does because Zack Snyder's not an actor. So he's a director, and his guild has a deal. So he has every right to be able to do that. Some people said maybe he just typed that out, Grace. Maybe Zack's just genuinely interested in Blue Beetle. I'm sure he is to a degree, but how did he get an exclusive poster that nobody had? It's a tweet. I mean, obviously, it was from Warner Brothers. So, you know, I think they're trying to find clever ways to promote Blue Beetle because they can't use the actors. Emmett, you've got Lady Gaga tickets. That's awesome. It's for jazz. I don't like jazz, but I'm sure you'll have a great time. She's a great performer. She'll put on a good show. I have not heard anything else about Joker, but I'm trying to avoid some of the tea because I want to be surprised, you know? George Calstilsudis says, what about Rogue taking Icarus's powers? That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I love it. And she can leave a little in the tank. He doesn't have to be totally out of powers. Elliot says, I'm almost finished with Star Wars Rebels Season 3. The show is amazing, and I love it more than the Clone Wars. Right? I mean, I haven't watched all the Clone Wars, but I've seen enough Clone Wars episodes to know that Rebels is so much better. I'm more excited for Ahsoka now. Kanan Jarrus is my #1 favorite character. He's amazing! He and Ezra have some of the best, I think the best, Jedi fight sequences I've ever seen. They're swirling their lightsabers left and right. They're using the Force to push stuff around to make themselves leap higher in the air. It's some of the best stuff I've ever seen. All right, Ahsoka, if it has that level of fighting. Oh, Chef Howard, thanks for gifting a membership. Mr. Magic, I'm sorry you missed the first story, but you can go back and watch it once we're done. Buck's Basement says, shout out to the Righteous Gemstones for not queer-baiting the fans and making their dude bros become a couple. Oh, that's great, and I'm glad the show got renewed for a 4th season then. I don't watch that show, but... Rio Gomez says, Grace, is it true that Snow White got positive reception during the test screening? I have not heard anything about that. I found out, so those pictures were correct. That apparently was a stand-in for Rachel Zegler. If those are indeed the Seven Dwarfs, that movie is going to be such a cluster F. Like, oh my God. I mean, it's just, it makes you wonder why they're even releasing it. But let's just see what happens. I just, you know, and, you know, nobody wants to be in the capacity of the hate area, you know, but it like gets to a point where I think everybody is like, that's not a good idea. And I just can't believe that anybody on set thought it was a good idea. Like, why wasn't everybody on set sitting there being like, I think we're making a huge mistake? Rahul says, Grace, if Loki season 2 is not better, or at least on par with season 1, I'm going to lose it. If Loki season 2 can't save the MCU, nothing else will. Deadpool 3? But I think Loki looks really good. I'm excited about it. Mr. Real Shane says, do you think Barbie will get past 1 billion and surpass Mario? I think it's definitely getting past 1 billion. And I'm very excited to talk about it on Movie Math on Sunday because that's when it will do it. And I'm not sure about Super Mario, though. I think there's a very strong chance, but I don't think it's a guarantee. Melody T says, love you, Grace. Love you too, Melody. Will the Marvels be delayed again? I don't think so. Again, let's just get this done. Let's see here. Jason, we couldn't watch Big League Chew on Sunday. I had Movie Math was just too late, and I had to get it up. So we're doing the Big League. I mean, we're doing the Tyrone watch along on this coming Sunday. Jason says, just a thought. I think Feige should hire the Russos as a supplement. But But I don't think so. I think Feige doesn't want the Russo brothers seeming like they're the magic sauce. And also, to be fair, a lot of the stuff the Russo brothers have done post-Marvel has not been good. You know? Like, let's get Sam Hargrave in there, who does the Extraction movies. Dancing Dog says, do we have a long wait for Wednesday season 2? Heck yeah. I mean, and we have to wait a very long time. Oh, well, you don't know what scabbing is? All right, for those of you who don't know what the term scabbing means that you cross a picket line and you are willing to do work when other strikers won't. And it's considered really horrible because you're benefiting from a total lack of competition. So you're like, haha, suckers, you're all on the picket line, but here I am. I'm going to go and get this money. And it's really bad. A Little Place of Wonder says, thank you, Grace. The live stream was just what I needed to get my mind off a stressful day. Oh, yeah. Oh, your husband just had an operation? Well, I hope he's okay. I'm so glad that you're there taking care of him. We're all going to put our positive thoughts to his recovery. And I know how important it is to be able to distract yourself. So I'm so glad that we were able to do that a little bit. Yay. Oh, let's see here. Gramo says, how do you want SAG to call them out? On social media? No, they just have to do a press release, and the trades and social media will take care of everything else. They should say, Stephen Amell, 6-month suspension. Look, I was so generous. I just took it down by half. Nick Dean says, better adaptations, Secret Invasion or Dark Phoenix. Oh my God. I guess Dark Phoenix was a little bit better, but they're both awful. Holly Jervis, I'm not a Buffy fan. I've never seen Buffy. I was never into Buffy. Jay King says, I've stopped watching MCU content, but I still watch all your breakdowns and reactions. Thanks, Jay King. That means a lot. Let's see here. Danny, thank you. That's very kind of you. Let's see. Do I have anything else here? Oh, my goodness. Look at all these questions down here. I am not reviewing the Meg 2, I don't think. I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to be. I reviewed a bunch of stuff last week, and there was... it's a little slow right now, and so I have a friend who really wants to see the Meg 2, and she was like, "Let's go!" And so I wanted to experience it for the first time with her because she's just so excited. She was like, "Giant shark movie, that looks hilarious!" So I was like, "Okay, let's see here." Rahul says, "Grace, what about a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 watch party?" I'm not sure because now I don't want to not do play Clone Tyrone, so I don't know if it'll work if we do it so much later in the month after it's come out. So we'll have to see. Sabarbia says, Grace, have you watched the new Real Housewives of New York reboot? I have not, but I heard it's pretty popular, which is great. Andy Cohen, he rebooted that thing successfully. That's amazing. Michael, I'm definitely covering Killers of the Flower Moon. For sure. And then C.F. Williams says, Marvel will continue to be the gold standard and is the most powerful brand of superhero content in the history of cinema. Feige has dialed back the content to refocus on quality. What are you writing their press releases, C.F. Williams? I love it. Do you think Kevin Feige's cabinet is in flux? He doesn't have a cabinet. I think that's part of his problem. Let's see here. Stanlow says, do you think the failed Marvel streamers failed because they were not essential? If so, does that mean future streamers should stick only to long-form storytelling? I think the problem is quality and that they became too formulaic and they were not consequential. They were inconsequential. So I think there should be less of them. I think they should spend more money of them that we can see on the screen. And I think that they should be like 8 to 10 episodes. They really should be doing the Netflix model. Netflix shows are 8 to 10 episodes. Ragu says Rogue should be like Sync. I love Sync. Just mimic powers when she's close to them. No, Ragu, she needs to not be able to touch people. That's a really big part of the character. Jennifer says, hi Grace, I just started watching Hijack because you mentioned it in a video and it's so good. Oh yay, it is so good, right? Wondering if you have any more show recommendations. I watched Good Omens and I thought it was okay. It's very quirky, but I thought it was okay. It wasn't as strong as season 1, but I still watched it. I loved Hijack. I think that's really superior. And I think Only Murders is not bad. So that's kind of what I know about that's out right now. And Winning Time starts this Sunday, season 2. And, watch the first season. Winning Time is one of the best things I've ever seen. It's the history of the Lakers. It's such a good show. And then Roni Green says, union chief negotiator has to encourage work with waivers. If independent shows can accept the union's terms, shows that they are not being. No, I don't agree, Roni, because every independent movie and show is going to eventually be picked up by somebody in the guild, one of the AMTP, whatever. So it doesn't work. Bartleby, where have you been? I rewatched the whole MCU filmography and I was surprised at how much I liked the first Ant-Man the second time around. Is there a comic movie you changed your mind about after the second viewing? There sure is. That would be Captain Marvel. I thought it was pretty meh the first time I saw it, but then the more I saw it, I think I saw it like 2 more times, and I was like, this has its moments. I never watched Asteroid City, David Kyle, because I heard it was so bad. Somebody told me it was worse than Beau is Afraid, and I was like, worse than Beau is Afraid, which I also didn't watch. I was like, I just can't do it. Subarbia says, I already got that one. Dante says, Nolan and Pattinson would be an exquisite Bond film. Yeah, but he's already Batman. I don't think they can do that. Hey, Dory, that's very sweet of you to say you hope everyone's enjoying the news. And then Alwatch says, will you review Talk to Me? A while back, the directors posted they were in the Warner Brothers lot, maybe doing a DC movie. They started out doing YouTube videos. Yeah, they have, and I think they're doing a couple of things, but I don't think I'm going to review that movie. I don't really like super scary movies, as you know. Al says, have you seen the new Castlevania trailer? I hear there was some controversy for Ray spending another character. I did see the trailer. I only thought it looked okay, to be honest with you. I think the animation, even though it seems to be the same animation studio, looks a little bit off to me. And I'm upset that it's not Trevor Belmont's son. I'm like, okay, who's this guy's parents? And they were like, not Trevor Belmont. And I was like, what the heck? Steven says, the birthday boy says, what the heck is happening with Armor Wars? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's happening with Armor Wars. I think Rhodey's certainly not in a great position right now. Yap Dem, you don't think Blue Beetle looks good, huh? Let's see here. Subasisu, which August movies will I review? I will review for sure. Let's see, where is the review schedule? Let's see what's coming out in August. I already reviewed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I loved, as you know. I feel really bad that people don't seem to be interested in it. I will review Blue Beetle, obviously, for sure. I'm hoping to review The Last Voyage of the Demeter, maybe. And then, obviously, I will review Blue Beetle. And then also Equalizer 3 for Labor Day weekend, which I think looks phenomenal. Oh, and I'll also review Gran Turismo. Based on a true story. What? Oh, I'm way over the time. Way over the time. Oh, I love talking to you guys. Let's see here. All right. So, let's see. I think I got almost everything. Mr. Magic says, Grace, I've been a subscriber since the very beginning, but a member for 5 months. It says 4, but whatever. Happy anniversary to us. Well, I believe you. Happy 5-month anniversary. And then Wilson says, was Iger actually the executive who made the writers, actors losing housing comment? I don't know who actually made it, but it's been insinuated that he was, because he decided to make himself the face of the strike for some idiotic reason. B-Weeb turned off Asteroid City. That's incredible. And then Haunted Autumn says, any word on a release date trailer for Netflix's Fall of the House of Usher? No, I haven't heard anything about it. They must be really sitting on it. And James Wright, I did watch Legion, but I didn't finish it. I thought it got too weird and too silly, and I ended up not liking it. All right, so the Brendan V says our IMAX renovations are almost done. I'm glad you'll be getting your IMAX theater back. And then Ethan says, first super chat. Hey, Grace, do you think either Kang, Dynasty, or Secret Wars could top Endgame's box office considering the dip in quality of the MCU? $2 billion each? I don't know. Let's see what happens with Jonathan Majors, but I don't know what they're going to do about Kang Dynasty. Secret Wars could be big. I would think it would be impossible to mess up Secret Wars, but I don't know how they could mess up Secret Invasion, and they found a way. All right, everybody, I got to get going. I had a lovely time talking with you, as always. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to subscribe and put a like on this video. Consider becoming a member. And for those of you who are members, I really appreciate it. And of course, thank you for everybody who gifted a membership. I'm going to shoot again for 3 live streams this week. And since it's pretty slow, I should be able to do them. We might do something fun this week with one of the live streams. So let me see if I can get it together. Have a great vacation, Bara. Okay, everybody, bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.